All right, yes, ma'am. So, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Adele Morgan Jones. Actually, I don't use my marriage name, and I am a math teacher, middle school math teacher for Dallas Public Schools.
All right. So, what is your prior education experience?
I have a master's in administration supervision with a minor in mathematics.
Oh.
Mhm.
So, what are some education courses that have impacted you and how?
I think the most prevalent education course that I've taken recently was a class that I had to take as a master teacher, and that had to do with differentiating instructions. I really enjoyed that because most children don't learn at the same rate, and that kind of helped me with what's going on in my classroom right now.
So, what grade preferences did you have and why?
I prefer middle school students, and the reason why is that they are at that age where they are not as grown. At least you can halfway talk to them, and you can kind of guide them in the right direction.
Okay. And what led you to teach?
Well, to tell you the truth, and that's my husband.
Okay.
To tell you the truth, the reason why I chose to teach, I really wanted to be an attorney. And even though I had a lot of teachers in my family, but my first husband, he got killed in an automobile accident. So I had two little boys that I had to rear on my own. So therefore I said, well, let me try to get the fastest degree that I possibly can. And once I got into education, I just loved it. So I've been with it for almost 30 years.
Wow.
Mhm.
So, is it important for you students to love you?
Right. I think so. I think it's very important that, if I understood the question correctly, did you say is it important for the students to love you, or is it important for you to love your students?
Well, either one. I mean,
Okay.
or both.
All right. I think it's important that you should love what you do. Okay. In any job situation, if you're that person that just hates your job, then you're not going to do a very good job. So I feel like it's important that you should love what you're actually doing.
And how do you feel about your students? Should they love you as well, or?
I'm not there for them to actually love me. I'm there for them to respect me. All right. And I think the feeling is mutual. And I need to respect them as students, and they need to respect me as the adult figure in the classroom.
How do you establish good rapport with students, fellow teachers, or parents?
How do I establish,
Okay.
would you mind repeating that, please?
How do you establish good rapport with students?
You really need to do like learning surveys to try to figure out what your students like to do, and that guides you in terms of the way that you want to teach.
You can come in if you want. What qualities do you bring to team? Is teamwork important?
Most definitely, teamwork is important, and the reason for that is that no man is an island, and teaching used to be that you used to be in this isolated area and you used to just do your own thing. It's not like that anymore. With teamwork, a lot of people bring a lot of things to the table, and even though I have a lot of experience, I like learning, and I like learning from the younger teachers because of the fact that they bring so much experience to the table. And I can bring what I have to the table also. And so with teamwork, you can collaborate and bring all of those things to the table, and it makes a better learning experience.
What are your strengths?
Perfectionist.
That's a good strength.
Sometimes that can be overbearing, though.
Yeah.
I tend to be a perfectionist in everything that I do.
Mhm.
And that's my strength, and that can also be my weakness.
All right. How comfortable are you with classroom management?
Very comfortable, with the exception of I had a experience this year that I went in the middle of the year, so it took a lot of things that I had to do to try to get that classroom under control. But being comfortable with classroom management, I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on that.
And from your experience, what would you describe as the best way to go about classroom management? I mean, do you set rules at the beginning of the year, or do you?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
By all means, your rules have to be established and your consequences have to be established in the beginning of the year, and you have to constantly, periodically go back and revisit those rules and those consequences. It's a process that you got to go through almost the entire year with students. Once they have established the rules and the consequences, and you establish those routines with those, then things should go pretty smoothly.
Okay.
After that.
How do you feel about extra duties, like meetings, or being told you have to be in charge of a certain club or something like?
I don't have a problem with that. To tell you the truth, it's again, it goes back to teamwork. You know, that's a team process. Like if you're responsible for the math club, or you're responsible for going to meetings, you're still learning. So that's the way that they are doing in-house staff development now. Whereas that you're going into your regular meetings, to establish that. So I think that that's a good thing. You know.
Well, how willing are you to earn an advanced degree? But obviously, you already have an advanced degree, so you're extremely willing. And what is your experience with the tax test, or I guess now the STAR test?
Yeah, it's the STAR test right now, and that's a learning curve for everyone. This was the first year that was actually administered, and so looking at it, it's more of a higher level test, but it's still covering those standards that was basically on the tax test. So you just have to address it differently.
Okay. And it asks, how did you prepare all your kids to excel?
I changed my teaching style. It's no more just rote memorizing and things like that. You have to group your kids into smaller groups. They have to move from centers and things like that. So different ways of teaching them to keep them active and keep them involved. And you teach from bell to bell.
Okay, so for the STAR, I know when I went to school, this TOS test was more like you said, memorization. For the STAR test, is it more critical thinking, and they actually have to be able to connect things?
It's more critical thinking. The way that it's written, it's more critical thinking, and so that you would have to basically teach the skills that's there. For instance, if you're working with, say, probability or things like that, you need to make certain that you're addressing probability at a higher level,
okay,
instead of just addressing it at that basic lower level.
Okay. How do you accommodate for different learning styles?
I guess putting them in different groups, grouping them into small groups. Not necessarily that lower level. You tend to mix your groups to make certain that they're say a high level student versus a lower level students, and so that they can help each other. You have the peer tutoring that will help. Of course, differentiate instruction, that helps also.
Okay. How will you, these are kind of scenario questions, so it says, how will you structure lessons when you have kids that are on all different levels? Kind of went over that.
Yeah, that's the differentiate instruction, whereas that they will, you have to group them.
Okay. How will you reach to a different parent? Or how will you react to a different parent? Or difficult parent? Oh, I can't read today.
Well, first reaction would be, first of all, to try to calm that parent down. Okay. If that parent is very difficult, you try to pull in your administrator